This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and today we're in Australia with the leading voice who is helping you get the strategy, support, and tools you need to succeed for leaders to scale their businesses with unshakable clarity. I'm joined here with the success catalyst, Annie Gibbins. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on your program.
Let's start off a little bit about yourself. You are a multi-award winning CEO, speaker, author, and global mentor who in the past has raised 5 kids while obtaining 3 degrees and becoming a C-suite executive. You now share your insights and your journey that prove with resilience and strategy, success has no limits. So let's first of all touch on that journey that kind of has led you here today.
I had the most unlikely journey to C-suite. So I married my childhood sweetheart at 20, and then we had 2 sets of twins, 26 months apart. So and then we had another 5th child a few years later. So I was this young girl who wanted to be a businesswoman. I just had this belief that, I was born to make things, create things, manage things. And then everyone who knew me said, that's not going to happen. And the more kids we had and our crazy journey. But I was one of these people who probably before affirmations, I just put this little Post-it note on my fridge and said, I believe I will be a senior manager, right? That was it. It wasn't very exciting. And everyone who laughed at me and went, all right, well, you'll manage your family. And I did. I did the road less traveled. I did 3 degrees through, it was hard, nighttime universities, but I ended up becoming a head teacher of nursing. Then I did business qualifications and I did a master's of education as well. So I ended up becoming this change management, health education CEO. And now I've written books and I mentor people all around the world. And I'm like, you know what? The power of a Post-it note, the power of self-belief. It's been a crazy ride, but one that, I now give people hope because they all say, Annie, if you could do it, maybe I can.
That is a very unique journey. I don't hear a journey like that quite often, especially up to senior management like that. It is no longer just a buzzword in the news today. It is now a vital component in every business. AI integration. What is smart AI strategy? Explain that to our viewers first of all.
To be smart, you need to be scalable, you need to be measurable, you need to be agile, you need to be just timely, and then you need to just be able to, transform your organization. If you're not using AI these days, like you are going backwards. It's not as if you'll say, oh, I'll just sit here calmly while everyone else is doing this. If you're not going forwards, you're going backwards because everyone is going in an exponential curve. So you want to be integrating AI. I did write a book on it, AI for leaders, for boards, and particularly because I've been in the association space. And it's been one of those areas that's been really interesting as it's come in. I'm probably an early uptaker. So I've been, we've all been using AI, even if we didn't know it for many, many years, because we've been being profiled, we've been given recommendation AI, we've been sort of incentivized in certain ways. Only being a CEO or a manager, you have to be using the opportunities. And there's 7 easy opportunities, I suppose, from AI that every company should be using.
Interesting. For over 25 years, you have been driving real change. As CEO of National Not-for-Profits, founder of Women's Biz Global, and now as a leading voice in strategic mentoring. What is AI-powered leadership? Kind of explain that for us.
It means that you're leading by example, but you're actually saying, as I lead this team, how can I use AI to, one, benefit the organization that I'm managing, but also every single person in that team has an opportunity to engage and adopt AI in an appropriate way so that we can all collectively benefit. So whether it's generative AI and it just helps them write their notes or their minutes, or whether it's actually image video AI that helps them create a graphic design of something that we've been talking about, or whether it's automation AI that, we can automate this business and then suddenly people get a whole stream of different communications that's all tailored or timely, or if it's a a recommendation AI. You're on our website, and because you like this, you also might like that. There's all these people in your team, and it doesn't matter what the team is and how and what the organization is. There's opportunities to engage AI into their work roles. And as long as it's done in a very strategic way, so you're not all just, you're not just implementing anything, you're choosing what the opportunities are, you're empowering them and training them, and then leading by example and going, yeah, like if we go to a staff meeting, how have we used that opportunity? So for example, a FAQ that you might have on the website, I can now get an AI bot to load that in, and a friendly person goes and tells you the message, bits and pieces. Now, if I can do it, I can train a colleague to do that. And then all of a sudden they feel like, oh my gosh, I've increased the value of our membership, the customer experience. And now, because I feel confident, I could probably go, hey, Annie, did you know that we could also do X, Y, Z? And maybe I don't even know that. And I go, yeah, well, bring it back. Show me what you think it could do. So there's all these opportunities that if you lead in a way that says, you know what, we're not going to embrace everything, but I'd love to know what's possible. How about you pitch that back to me? I think leaders will be really surprised how creative their team can be and how empowering that can be.
Wow. So we're talking about possibilities, making sure that everyone is integrated, not just the company using AI, but the people, how they can be involved as well. Your success pathway, coaching programs, the start, grow, and scale. Can you explain the distinct focus kind of maybe of each one of those programs?
Yeah. So I've done many coaching programs over the years, and now I've sort of just narrowed it down. You have a start program, a grow program, and a scale. I'm all about scale. So the goal is scale. You want to be getting more benefit with less effort, time, energy, right? So that is the goal of absolutely everything. If you're running a company or if you've got your own company. So start means you're starting up right from that beginning. You're going to have like ebooks and coaching sessions through all the journeys of starting a business. So that's that first 12 months or till you're at around 100K. Because if you're not at 100K, you could probably be getting a day job, right? So this is a really important step, because otherwise, sometimes it's just a hobby and people think it's their business, but they get stalled at certain spots, or they don't know what they don't know, particularly if you're turning a passion business into a business and you don't have that experience. That's really hard, right? And they've got a higher failure rate. So the START program allows them to, even right from the beginning, assess their idea. Had they checked all of that? The GROW program allows you to now grow to, how are you going to grow to multi-six figures? How are you going to grow? Means you're getting your businesses bigger, but that's not necessarily better. You just manage more things, but there's not necessarily a higher profit margin, or how much effort do you want to do? So you're suddenly going to be employing others, finding out how do you get yourself in your top genius zone, and how do you offload other things, and how does that work? So you're going to have work culture, you're going to have automation, systems, processes. Scale are when people are at, and they might even not be at the multi-six, but they go, I want to have passive revenue streams. Do I have my own online store? Do I have coaching? Do I mentor others? Do I speak at events? Do I have books? How do I actually scale my business so that I can then be just spending that 20% of time going, I'm overseeing everything, I'm going and managing it. And then the business goes on, because those businesses are saleable. And ultimately, you want to get to a stage in your life that you go, I built this empire and now someone wants to buy it. They know what their return is going to be. It's guaranteed, and you're not necessarily the face. So for example, I'm Annie Gibbins. I've got AnnieGibbins.com. Very hard to sell that, right? One day. But I also have changed my business that I am AnnieGibbins.com, but I'm also SmartAssociations.ai. I'm also Women's Biz Global.
Exactly.
And all three can go to one place, but I can change them based on what I'm trying to achieve. So there's a whole lot of factors in that journey. And so I've just made it really simple. You start, you grow, you scale.
Exactly. For the same reason I didn't name my photography studio years ago, Gary Atencio Photography. I was thinking in the future that I wanted to hand it off to somebody. So very, very important. Let me ask you this. Does a leader determine which pathway is best suited for their current business stage? Or is that something you can help with as well?
I think a leader...
You take them where they're at, or do you kind of put them in which stage would be best for them?
Yeah, I think the very much a leader, if a leader comes to me, I then go and debrief where they're at, where they're wanting to go. So a lot of peak performance is all about your goal setting. It's all about knowing, what specifically do you want? How are you going to measure that? How is, what's going to feel like? What's going to look like? So that person is going, I'm going to be looking at, one, what's their vision mission? Two, what's their motivation? I'm going to be looking at, how committed are they to their success? What does that mean? Some people like the idea, but don't like the reality. And then I'm also going to be looking at the mechanics of, well, what have they actually got? What is their business? And so that allows you to take the hood off and actually see, do they have systems and processes? Are they automated? Do they have a team? Is everything aligned? What would happen if they disappeared for a month, 3 months? You're ready to scale when you can actually go on a holiday for 3 months. So that person's going to be in a scale business. If you can't disappear for a month, you're probably still growing. If you can't disappear for a few days, you're probably, in the still startup because you're doing everything, right? And so a leader definitely has to, if I'm leading my team, I have to be knowing the whole strategy, driving that, making sure that everyone is on that same page 100%. And a true leader then leads all of that from the front. And then once you've got a senior position and everyone knows what they're doing, it's almost like you go around the back and then you actually are leading from, you're guiding them. You're like a little bit left, a little bit right, keep going, because that brings the best of your team. So there's all these different ways of leading. Sometimes you need to be always at the front. Sometimes it's around the sides, at the back. And so for those who are coming to me as emerging leaders or leaders, I'm very much going to look at, what experience they've got, their depth, what they're wanting out of that. And particularly if they own a business, what are they actually going to achieve and how are we going to do that journey in the most effective and efficient way? And most people want to do it as fast as possible. So then we actually go, okay, well, you can do things fast, but where are the gaps? And that's why I love, I don't run a course. I could do that you do all the steps and you hope you're successful at the end, which is the way most education is made. Whereas I actually go, show me what you've got. I've got the lesson on everything, but we then gap fill and then go, okay, so we can focus so they get quicker gain. Because, sometimes initially it's just focusing on the thing that they like. Like everyone loves their pretty website or their beautiful graphic designs, but they might have no systems or processes and don't even know what they earn every week. And so we'll do a little bit of which is normal human behavior. Let's get some easy wins, pretty something up, and now let's do some hard stuff. And that's what peak performance is all about. Focusing on, you got to do some hard stuff. You got to eat frogs early in the morning and then you can then do some fun stuff. And mix it up. And as long as you feel like, yes, I'm winning and I'm progressing and we can measure that, most people don't know how to measure their success. So in programs, whoever your coach is, or for my clients, it's like, I know exactly what I'm trying to achieve weekly, monthly, the quarterly, yearly, and I know how I'm going to measure that success. And then suddenly what it does is it takes away the overwhelm. People get overwhelmed because it's just so big. If I was sitting there with my 2 sets of twins on the couch when they were like 2 and 4 and saying, well, how on earth am I? Maybe everyone's right? But if I actually break it down and go, you know what? Yeah, it's going to be challenging, but I'm going to do this qual and it's going to have to do it instead of 4 subjects a term. I'm going to do 1 a term and I'm going to do this and this. And then suddenly the years go by and surprise, surprise, if you stay the course, you get there. And everyone goes, wow, I didn't expect that.
Yep. And many times it takes an outside perspective to be able to see that world in a 360, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
They're seeing all angles of their business, things they never even thought about before. You emphasize moving leaders from fluff to bold momentum. What does bold momentum specifically entail in your coaching philosophy that I would say sets you apart probably?
I think you have to be bold. You have to back yourself. You have to do things when others criticize you. You have to do things when people are not watching, right? There's a whole lot of factors that says, what makes me a bold leader? It means that I've got this confidence and assurance because I've done the hard work. I know what I'm wanting to achieve. I know what the strategy is. It's clearly defined. And so therefore, I will show up in that way. I'll also be agile and adapt if the environment changes, such as the embrace of AI. Whereas a lot of leaders, and I work with people all around the world, you can see them, they're nervous and then suddenly they get up on the stage and they do their performance. But like everyone's been watching them from the moment they arrived at that event, and they can see the chinks in how confident and how packaged they really are. Because someone else who's confident and has, isn't just doing it for the show will be the same all the time, Or if I go to I'm quite happy to present something to a board or another organization and go, this is what I believe you're saying you want. And then others will say, they'll push back. I should assume as a bold leader that they will push back, because people like the idea of change, but they don't like it when that change affects them sometimes. And also the bell curve of normal is that you'll get some early innovators, people love it. There'll always be people who don't like it. So it's about knowing who you are, what you're wanting to achieve, and being comfortable that I show up like that every day. Like these are peak performance. If you look at any successful person, they will have patterns of behavior because your future is your sum of today's. So it goes to the micro level of that principle. And so therefore they will eat certain foods that are healthy for them. They'll read certain books that motivate and help them grow. They will exercise and keep themselves physically fit, mental fit. They'll probably meditate to get rid of the noise. They will then go, I am very clear and I avoid distractions. So I'm so clear on my path that I will then go and show up like that. So when those people come and say, oh, I'm not too sure about that, you go, thank you so much. I'll take that as a comment. I wish you well on that journey, but this is where I'm at. So you're not fluff. You're not easily swayed, and no one wants that. You don't want to go on a ship that just might go anywhere. You want a leader who actually says, I am so sure, because that gives other people safety. It gives them security. It gives them confidence, even if they're not sure of what you're doing, to go. And then I would go, come back and ask me. I'll always give you the rationale. And if you don't know your rationale, then you are fluff. Right? You should know why you do, what you do, and how others benefit from it. And if others are not benefiting, well, you can be bold and brassy, but why? And so at the end of the day, we measure it on the consumer's success, the consumer's experience, the money that we're coming in, that we've got all these other metrics. So if we're not getting that, then you can actually just be bold and do nothing. The general principle is this process works.
Like I always say, the consumer knows best, and we can sit here and think about it all day long, but at the end of the day, they have to benefit. Everyone has to benefit. I've never heard it said like you did, that bold leaders should expect pushback. I like that. I've never heard that before, and I could even use that in my marriage as well. I get a lot of pushback, but I can understand why now. With 30 years of C-suite leadership experience and a focus on integrating AI, how do you see artificial intelligence reshaping strategic decision-making and brand building for those ambitious leaders that you work with?
I see it encompassing absolutely every area of that whole topic. And so where we were 18 months ago to today, in 2 years, it's going to affect absolutely everything that we do in business. From our, I can now go in and put into, a chat GPT or whatever, my whole, a strategic planner, and give me some more ideas and what sort of, well, this is, or it might be, this is my demographic, this is who I serve. And therefore, what are the current trending colors that this demographic, this avatar are actually loving? And then I look at my brand colors and go, well, does that, if I'm just turning them off because of my colors, where are these people shopping? Or they'll go, something that you might have paid, hundreds of $1,000s. If they buy this product, who are they also shopping from? Or what podcast do these people listen to? And they might go, X or Y or whatever. And I go, oh, okay, well, then I then got all this extra information. So it's going to affect your brand, your colors, the way you show up. It might affect even where you're positioned, on what apps, or, were you on YouTube, were you on TikTok, were you on Facebook? You can't do everything. So it means that you're going to shift to, well, where are my people hanging out? If all the people move house, well, sorry, my business has to move house. Is it paid advertising? Is it organic? Is it through influencers? There's so many of these factors, and in business, you're suddenly going to be running your business very differently. And that's what I'm doing. I've got like 5 different businesses at the moment that I'm managing, and all of them are just responding to AI in a new way. An education business is looking at, do I use another app to do like Turnitin to make sure people aren't just using AI to pass their tests? Others are actually looking at to totally redo their whole strategy or brand. Others are looking at opportunities to then get a lot more passive income. The whole metrics on even just putting in your budgets or your data to then give me some analytics. If I did a survey of my members, one of the organizations I'm with, say it's got 10,000 members, they do a survey. I used to have to put that out to someone to measure. I can just pop the survey results in now and get a whole lot of, different metrics on that. That is so valuable because I'm suddenly immediate to market and go, thanks for completing that survey, 10,000 people. This is what I'm hearing from you. And if I can do that tomorrow or this afternoon after a big webinar, people are like, man, they are so responsive. They are so into me. They care about me. Whereas if I did that and it took 3 months, I would then go, they're like, oh, what was that webinar? What was that about? So that the concept of being timely and ready and hearing your people and responding, there's so many factors that has changed modern business.
Wow. I mean, you build magnetic brands that attract abundance, unlock AI optimized strategy, and deliver proven results. I mean, can every company benefit from your simplify, systemize, and scale with confidence approach? You think almost every business out there could benefit from that?
Every single business, it doesn't matter what your business is, it will benefit from simplifying. I think so many people make things way more complicated than they need to be. And most people think they are so unique. I even understood that from going into associations. It's an association for everything. And you know what? 99.9% of them are all the same. And then something's different because they're special. And so people all think they are very uniquely special and therefore their systems or processes, everything's different. Whereas actually once you're into business coaching, and I've done it, it's even global because I've coached people all around the world. They've actually all got the same. We're in a global market. We have global systems. And you are slightly different. If you're a hairdresser or an IT company or this or that, yeah, you're different. But all the principles of business are the same and the mechanics of business are the same. And so therefore you apply it to that context. That's a small part from an experienced business coach to your opportunities to simplify and to scale are just absolutely huge. I'd say every single business could just invest in a bit of coaching and they would just go, wow. Most people go, oh my gosh, wow, why didn't I do this years ago? Because it shouldn't be that hard. And also be kind to yourself. What makes us assume that we would automatically know everything, right? Or what makes us assume that if we ask one friend who's done something that they know all the answers, they've had an experience. And so you always want to be coached by someone who has a track record, ideally in your industry, but he's probably like 2 to 3 steps ahead of you because they've done the road. It's not a road less traveled. It is a well-trodden road and you can actually get KPIs. Where is the evidence of your journey? And someone who is a bold, confident leader goes, yeah, I can actually show you that. I can even tell you what my mistakes were. I can tell you how long it took me to do that mistake. And that's why I can now tell you now and you don't have to make that mistake. So there's just, everyone can benefit.
It works for any business across the board. I've interviewed over 3,000 business owners and there's always a common thread. Like you say, I mean, it's basically you don't have to rewrite the wheel. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. No. Some of the stuff, it just works across the board. When you're dealing with your speaking platforms or even one-on-one, what central message do you aim to convey through your speaking and individual mentoring?
My main message is that you can do it and knowing what is it, right? So for me, it was at a young age going, I believe I'm going to be this person. I didn't know how I was going to do it. And as life gets messy, it gets more and more confusing. But knowing what it is, so you might be a person, and that's going to be uniquely different. So for me, it's about saying, okay, well, if you're in a company now, it is to grow that and to achieve X and to know what that thing. It might be to have the mechanics allow you to have the money that gives you freedom, because freedom is your number one value, and you want the freedom to be able to travel or have the laptop lifestyle. Or it might be that you can then be at home with your kids in certain hours, knowing what it is, and then being able to then go, okay, well, for that to be clearly defined, you don't need to know how it all works, but you need to know what you're chasing. Most people don't know what is the destination. It's like going for a trip to Europe and going, I don't know what countries I'll go, but I'm going to Europe. Well, that's nice. But you can also be very stressful because you don't know the budget, you don't know the time, you've got different ideas. So my main presentations are all on that walk of, where are you going? What is your destination? And then once you've done that, then that's it. My destination was to go, I want to see could I possibly get to C-suite? And then I've got like abundance more. I got a Grand Stevie Award and went to New York and went, oh my gosh, how am I one of the 5 people on this stage? I've then got multiple businesses, because once your vision is there, you go, if I can do that, I can also do other things. And also you become more competent and more capable and more bold. And opportunities also then get attracted to that, because that's very sexy, isn't it? Like if you're a confident person, people want to be around that person. They go, tell me more about your journey.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you would be great here or here or here. And it's like a magnet. So my next book coming out is called Magnetic Attraction, because that's what you want to be. You want to be in a position that if you, whatever it is in your life, it's not someone else's journey. Those days are gone. Do what your parents said, or don't do this because it's not a good idea. You know what? If you love it, do it, follow that. But also don't be dreamy. Don't be dreamy that just because I want to be a rock star, I'm going to be a rock star. You know what? You're going to be a business professional. You're a brand. You've got to know how to manage your own brand, or you have to get someone who knows how to do all the things you don't know how to do. And there will be many, and that is okay. So you complement.
I mean, that's what I love. When I followed you a little bit on social media before I had my team basically reach out to you. I mean, you're not afraid to roll up your sleeves along with those in the workplace and find solutions. I mean, Annie, in a world powered by algorithms and automation, you teach your clients a leadership brand needs to be more than visible. It needs to be undeniably human. Is it rewarding work for you, teaching others basically how AI is reshaping how we hear, how we follow, everything about our world around us, really?
Yeah, I love all aspects of it. I also appreciate there are some dangers and some concerns, so I'm not dreamy about it. What I do focus is my whole brand is on authenticity. Like Annie Gibbins is a brand, right? Everything I do, I'm happy to be measured on that. And so therefore I need to be human. So while I'm on, it's like a paradox, isn't it? It's like on one way you want to go artificial, but your brand is personal and authenticity. How does that work? Well, it works because I actually go, I want to use all the opportunities. All it is it's a tool. So if this tool is equal or better than what I previously had, yes, I will adopt it. But then I'll still also go, what's the human side? So an example of that would be if I used like something like Hey Jen, and I go and use an avatar, and I'm training a little Annie bot at the moment. She's not quite there. She's a little bit plastic. But if I then go and put my CEO report through that bot, and they go, that's not Annie, then I've actually gone and done a massive brand damage because of that, right? But if I also put my FAQs through a little artificial bot, and John goes and tells people X, Y, Z, they go, what a fantastic service. This is really great. I really love it. I don't even know if John's real or not, and I don't really care. So there's many aspects that you go, if you use AI, does it still come out and sound like you? It'd be like if I wrote this book and then wrote it through AI, people would go, it doesn't sound like Annie. Whereas if you get a book from me, you go, oh my gosh, it's like if she's talking to me on the stage. It's like she's talking to me on my coaching, and that's who I read. So I go, thank you, Annie, you've shared your wisdom. That is the difference. That is human-centered. But will I use AI for ideas, content or the chapter selections, names, bits and pieces? Absolutely. In fact, I would be wrong not to. So you get the people go, that's cheating. You're an author. What? You've done that? Yes, of course I have. In fact, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you use opportunities? Yep. But would I then fake it and pretend some things are me? No, that would be very bad for a brand. And people can tell that now. and so it will backfire. Every advantage has a potential disadvantage, right?
Yeah.
An action has an equal reaction. And so we have to be very savvy to use it for benefit while keeping human-centered.
Moving boldly,
Are human.
moving boldly, but with caution. I love that approach. Viewers, let's take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. What you're going to see is our website. On the website, you can see all the services she provides and learn more about the start, grow, scale, really her signature success pathways that she provides. You can sign up for her newsletter right there, as well as find her podcast online. Once again, that is Annie Gibbins, the award-winning Success Catalyst. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.